Let's run it one time for the one time. Welcome to Street Scores. It's your boy Rico bringing y'all a Redskins starters prediction and a Redskins report right afterwards, centered around a few notable topics that's going on lately. Let's get it. Now, before we get all the way into this Redskins report, I want to show y'all the results of the Twitter poll I ran from the last video. Is Jay Gruden underrated? 55% of the 47 votes said he is. I also voted that he's underrated, so I agree. The second most votes are neutral on it, and that's very interesting to me because it seemed like most people thought he was overrated with how much I see people ranting about him and complaining about him on a regular on the internet. But that's good. I like Jay Gruden, and I like the fact that he's finally brought some continuity to this franchise. But moving on, I want to challenge myself and have some fun by trying to predict the starters on offense and defense in May. Later on, I'm going to try to predict the 53-man roster, but that's a couple of months from now. That's deep in the training camp. But for now, I want to activate my Sherlock Holmes and just get the starting lineups right. And if I do, I go crazy. But let's start it up. Offensive line. This is the easiest to predict of the entire team other than defensive line. It's obviously going to be Trent Williams at left tackle, who is arguably the best left tackle in all of football when healthy. Chase Roulier at center, who has arguably been our most consistent and dependable offensive lineman. Brandon Scherff, who's on his contract year at the right guard. We're going to talk about him a little later. Pro Bowl right guard, though, who's one of the best second and third level blockers out here doing it and the best pullers in the league. And then Morgan Moses at right tackle, who is a warrior who's been playing through all sorts of injuries just for the sake of the team the past couple of years. And then the only debate is who will start at left guard. The candidates? You have ex-Giant Eric Flowers, recently drafted Ross Piersbacher, and Wes Martin. And then there's Tyler Catalina and Zach Karen. And even though he is a rookie, I strongly believe Wes Martin will start for us in 2019. It's a strong belief. He has a lot of great traits. He is very strong and has good balance, which bodes well in the run game. But he also only allowed 2 sacks in his last 1,469 snaps. So he's stamped when it comes to pass protection as far as production goes. He is great in tight spaces but struggles in open spaces, like pulling and getting to the upper levels to block. But that can be improved, especially with Bill Callahan, the best offensive line coach in the league. I believe he will start and complete our top 5 offensive line, which is crazy value in the 4th round. So going from left to right, I have Trent Williams, Wes Martin, Chase Roulier, Brandon Scherff, and Morgan Moses. Let's get it. Even though Jay Gruden loves 2 tight end sets, I'm going to just give 1 starting tight end for the sake of having room for 3 starting wide receivers. And the obvious answer is Jordan Reed. Even though there may be games where Vernon Davis or Jeremy Sprinkle gets the first snap, Jordan Reed will technically be the starter when healthy. Jordan Reed is going to be the starting tight end and will get most of the snaps any given game. Now the wide receivers, and this one is tricky, because what I think will happen is completely different from what I want to happen. What I want to happen is definitely different. I want Paul Richardson or Terry McLaurin at the Z, Trey Quinn in the slot, and Cam Sims or Kelvin Harmon at the X. But what I predict will happen is completely different, trying to be more realistic. Trey Quinn is pretty much a lock in my opinion. But at the Z position, even though I love the potential of Terry McLaurin, he more than likely won't be ready to start week 1 immediately and have the impact that we hope and believe he will have. But it's a fact he will have a strong impact in the special teams game. But I'm just not betting on him being the week 1 starter at the Z. I just don't see him starting over Paul Richardson week 1. I believe Paul Richardson will start because, first of all, the Redskins paid him all of this money, but also Paul Richardson, when not dealing with multiple ailments at the same time, can actually be a good receiver. And that deep threat we need to take the top off the defense and get them safeties out of the box so we can run the ball effectively like Jay Gruden wants to, especially with Case Keenum or Dwayne Haskins at the quarterback position, so that they can manage the offense and not have to go out there and carry the team to wins. And lastly, Josh Doctson will probably start at the X receiver position. I would much more prefer to see Kelvin Harmon or Cam Sims starting at the X, but Josh Doctson was a first-round pick just a few years ago, and the Redskins may try to force him to be great until he just isn't. I like Kelvin Harmon a lot at the X, and Cam Sims has the highest ceiling out of all of them, and they may start later on down the line, But week 1, I see Josh Doctson starting, even though I'd prefer and want Cam Sims and Kelvin Harmon to start over Josh Doctson. They don't want to give up on their first round pick yet, even though they declined his 5th-year option. But he also knows the playbook better already, especially more than Kelvin Harmon, who was just drafted. So my prediction for the starting 3 wide receivers: at the X, Josh Doctson; at the Y, Trey Quinn in the slot; and at the Z, Paul Richardson. Now for running back, and to be completely honest, I feel like Derrius Guice will start the year off getting most of the carries between him, Adrian Peterson, Chris Thompson, and Bryce Love. Adrian Peterson is clearly a first and second down back. Chris Thompson is clearly a third down back, even though he can protect well despite his small size. And Bryce Love is still recovering from an ACL tear to this day, so who knows how well he'll be prepared even if he is healthy week 1. And Derrius Guice is our most well-rounded running back. He is very explosive with home run speed, but he is also a bruising first and second down back with great vision and cutting, and his pass catching ability is underrated. We will almost certainly see a running back by committee where Guice, AD, and CT all get carries every game. So don't draft any of them fantasy league-wise. Not yet, at least, until we see what happens. But I believe Derrius Guice will get the most of the carries. Even if he doesn't get the first snap, he will get the most any given game. And now the quarterback. And to be honest, I don't like believing the hype, but I have Dwayne Haskins starting week 1, honestly, for real. Before I even get to the football side of it, I gotta talk the business side of it, because that is a big factor in this, whether we like it or not. Dan Snyder hired some professionals, as many of us know, last year to enhance the Redskins' business and sales. But they didn't produce the results Dan Snyder wanted, so he fired all of them within a year, even though it really wasn't their fault. People weren't coming to games because of the product on the field, not because of their business initiatives. But it's whatever, Mr. Snyder. But I say all of this to say that Dan Snyder cares a lot about getting fans excited and filling in seats and selling tickets. And Case Keenum is not about to fill up seats, I'm not going to hold you. Dwayne Haskins brings a huge amount of hope that no other quarterback on his roster can bring, not even Alex Smith. And hope sells tickets. Haskins is our best chance of not having more opponent fans than Redskins fans at home games in Maryland. Now for the football side of it. Haskins looks like the part, obviously. 6'3", 231 pounds, compared to Case Keenum, 6'1", 210 pounds, and Cole McCoy is still pretty hurt. Built almost like a Big Ben, and his game is also very identical to Big Ben's. Like I said, when we drafted him on my live stream the day of the first round, he's accurate with a big arm, and his ability to stand tall in the pocket, stay balanced through traffic, and take hits, and deliver passes through trash in the pocket. With people falling all around his feet, he manages to stay balanced and get the ball out. Haskins also has a great football IQ. Pre-snap reads, progressing through reads and not staring down receivers, and knowing how to move safeties with his eyes. He just needs to learn the offense's terminologies, how to call the protections, and get better at throwing on the run and making good decisions while under pressure. But from what we've seen out of OTAs, Dwayne Haskins looks better than Keenum. Keenum looks pretty good, but Haskins has been on another level and has much more zip and touch with his passes than Keenum. And you have to remember, even though Keenum is an NFL vet, he has to learn the Redskins offense just like Haskins. It would be different if Keenum already played a full season under Gruden or just some games at all. But he also has to learn the playbook, terminologies, and the wide receivers, as in speed, catch radius, and overall chemistry, just like Haskins. And Keenum don't even know what mumbo sauce is. Is this your king? He doesn't even know who Chuck Brown is. Is this your king? So I believe, due to a lot of the previously mentioned factors, along with the fact that Haskins is far ahead of the curve as a rookie quarterback, especially one who only started 1 year in college, I believe Haskins will start week 1. We just have to see how he does in preseason against real defenses that are actually coming at him and actually trying to hit him. So let's see how he does under pressure, and then we'll truly see if he's ready. But honestly though, just to take a step back real quick, I really don't want the Redskins to mess this up and throw him out there too early. But I honestly feel like he can handle it. But if we see in training camp, in preseason, that he can't, please don't start that, man. Don't force it. But there are levels to this. If he has minor concerns and issues that can only be fixed by getting out there and actually playing, then throw him out there and let him take his lumps and learn. But if the game is too fast for him and he's not ready to deal with real pocket pressure and actual NFL action, then do not throw him out there and ruin him. Do not ruin his confidence and all of that. But again, whether or not I want him to start week 1 doesn't matter. That doesn't factor into my prediction at all. There are so many factors that lead me to thinking that Haskins will start week 1 whether I want him to or not. And that's just that on that. Now the defense. Starting with the most obvious position group on the team, even though we technically run a 3-4 defense, we are in nickel a lot of the time, like most of the time. So as much as I rock with Matt Ioannidis and how he could be a Pro Bowl starting on any other defensive line, I don't have you making the cut in this video, not the starting lineup cut. Tim Settle and Caleb Brantley should also be starting on other teams. So that just shows how much depth we have at defensive line. But for the starters, that's easy money, man. The Alabama Beast, defensive tackles Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen at the inside, and then the next Reggie White and edge rusher Montez Sweat and Mr. Consistent Pro Bowl edge rusher Ryan Kerrigan on the outsides. That defensive line is ridiculous. The addition of Montez Sweat, when he learns how to stay low and add some moves to his arsenal, is gonna terrorize the NFL. Y'all will see. Now the off-ball linebackers, or better known as the inside linebackers, this is the hardest position to predict on the defense, probably on the entire team. Mason Foster is the OG who is good in the run game but struggles mightily in coverage, cannot cover a wheel route to save his life. Recently acquired John Bostic is a slightly better coverage linebacker but not as good against the run as Mason Foster, so it's a pick your poison between them two. Reuben Foster is gone for the year. Sean Dion Hamilton is like a baby Reuben, but unproven. He has the potential to be our best inside linebacker this year while Foster is hurt, but he's still a mystery and a risk. Josh Harvey-Clemons is our best coverage linebacker, but is tragic against the run, so he is restricted to obvious passing downs. And then there's recently drafted Cole Holcomb, who has all of the traits to be great, but his lack of instincts and decisiveness gets him in a lot of trouble. He has crazy speed and a high football IQ, but he lets plays come to him, which can hurt a defense often. So my heart is hoping for Sean Dion Hamilton to start alongside Mason Foster, but I feel like the Redskins will go with John Bostic over my boy Sean. But nah, forget that. I'm predicting Sean Dion Hamilton and Mason Foster to start, technically, because John Bostic will get more snaps than people expect of a linebacker that's not technically starting. The snaps will be shared quite evenly amongst those three, with Josh Harvey-Clemons coming in on obvious passing downs to replace Mason Foster. But I have Sean Dion Hamilton and Mason Foster starting, especially since they already know the defense and everything and have chemistry with the other players. Now the cornerbacks. Because we are in nickel so much, I have 2 outside corners and 1 slot corner in my starting lineup. Outside wise, even though I can't wait for Fabian Moreau to finally get a true chance to be our best outside corner, which he can be, because he is the best mix of naturally gifted potential and NFL readiness out of anybody on our roster as far as cornerbacks go. But I can't predict he will start week 1, honestly. I have Quinn Dunbar starting alongside Josh Norman. Even though Dunbar is coming off of a mysterious injury that involves some nerve damage or something, but Dunbar, along with Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, is competing in this race that many of the fastest people in the NFL are competing in. So that's a good sign that he is ready to perform on the field. He must not be too hurt if he's competing to be one of the fastest players in the NFL. And then my slot corner, y'all already know, man. My boy, Jimmy Moreland. He is already making plays, making noise. Wait till he gets to training camp. Y'all will see. He is a lockdown. He is a ball hawk. He's gonna get picks. That's just what he does. So I have Quinn Dunbar and Josh Norman on the outside, and my boy Jimmy Moreland in the slot. And lastly, the safeties. This one is pretty easy, with Troy Apke not being able to make an open field tackle, DeShazier Everett being who he is, a good backup, and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie being able to fill in any role in the defensive back group, from slot corner to outside corner to deep safety. So he's probably best as a backup that will get a lot of snaps everywhere on the third level. So Monte Nicholson will start alongside recently acquired All-Pro strong safety Landon Collins. And as long as Monte Nicholson plays like his rookie season, our safety tandem should be great. I'm hyped. But I blame a lot of his problems from the defense that we recently ran only last year, where safeties played a certain side of the field. It wasn't a free safety and a strong safety. One person at the left, one person at the right, which forced Monte Nicholson to come up and be in the box much more than he should be, when he should have been deep safety most of the time using his range, which is his best asset. So hopefully we go back to that. I know the Redskins didn't want to be so predictable, But at the same time, Monte Nicholson in the box and Landon Collins at deep safety kind of hurts our defense. But overall, our defense should be really good. Top 10 with the top 5 front 7 and probably the best defensive line outside linebacker combo group in the league. There have been GMs from other teams saying our front 7 before Reuben Foster got hurt was the best in the league. So I'm excited about this 2019 defense. If we had Reuben, the NFC East would have been on lock. But even without Reuben, our defense is still very good. And our run game should be very potent if we can stay healthy on the offensive side of the ball, especially offensive line. And the run game should take a lot of pressure off of Haskins' shoulders, especially with him not having one true, standout, dependable target yet. There's a lot of potential in the receiving group, but no previous NFL production and dependability. Training camp will tell a lot though, and I hope I'm right in some ways, but I hope I'm wrong in other ways. Because for example, if Cam Sims or Kelvin Harmon win the X receiver spot, and I'm wrong about my X receiver prediction, then that means they must have really shined in training camp or preseason and made everybody stay healthy. Just please everybody stay healthy. And speaking of health, the Redskins are trying to battle the injury problem with sleep. I know it sounds a little weird, but there's logic behind it. Along with massage tables, zero gravity chairs, laser therapy, a cryptotherapy chamber, and giant floating pods, the Redskins are implementing some sleep methods to improve team health. They feel that sleep, more specifically recovering while asleep, is the key. Head athletic trainer Larry Hess and owner Dan Snyder even went to visit soccer clubs of the English Premier League to learn about their breakthroughs in sleep tracking nutrition. And basically, the body can only perform a lot of functions such as recovering and healing while a person is asleep. So an adequate nightly healing and recovery is necessary for healthy bodies that have to run into each other full speed on a daily basis. And with people bodies recovering on a nightly basis and not letting damaged tissues linger onto the next day as they begin to get damaged more, less injuries should occur. People won't keep stacking damaged tissues. I'm hoping all of this research and money actually help us. I really do. And as many of y'all know, the Redskins training camp schedule has been released, running from Thursday, July 25th to Saturday, August 11th. Most of the days start at 9:45 a.m., which is later than usual and more than likely a good thing. And then there's a late afternoon walkthrough at 4:40 p.m. That's just a typical day. That's how most days will look. And for those of y'all who don't know, the training camp is held at Ben Secours Training Center in Richmond, Virginia. And of course, the training camp is free and open to everybody. And the most notable dates include Fan Appreciation Day, which is Saturday, August 3rd. The Redskins have the day off before Fan Appreciation Day, and it's just one practice that just starts at 1 p.m. And we also play the Browns in our first preseason game on Thursday, July 8th, and then the last walkthrough is Sunday, August 11th. And teams must finalize their 53-man roster by August 31st. And the first regular season game is September 8th at 1 p.m. in Philadelphia. We getting there, y'all. We close. And just to let y'all know, the people I'm going to have my eye on most will be cornerback Jimmy Moreland, inside linebacker Sean Hamilton, wide receiver Kelvin Harmon, running back Darius Geis, offensive lineman Wes Martin, and of course, the big hitters like Montez Sweat, Dwayne Haskins, and Landon Collins. But if I had to narrow it down to 3, I'd pick Jimmy Moreland, Sean Hamilton, and Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins is kind of automatic though. This QB situation of ours has been tragic for the vast majority of this franchise's existence. So I can't help but be excited about the idea of finally getting our own Big Ben without the character and personality issues. But if I had to narrow it down to one person that I'm going to keep my eye on the most out of training camp, and it's a hard decision, but I have to go with my boy Jimmy Moreland. Got to. His trash talking and crazy talent wrapped up in an undersized body makes for some real entertainment and excitement. In my Twitter poll for this video, Brandon Scherff, a few months removed from being on the injured reserve, one of the best guards in football, is in the center of extension talks. He is on the last year of his rookie deal, and this is the best time to extend him. A right guard with this level of talent and dependability is very rare in this league, and the Redskins will be smart to extend him before he hits the free agency market, where teams from all over will be offering him all kinds of money that the Redskins will either be unwilling to pay him or unable to pay him. I'm seeing around that an extension done this year will more than likely come into the form of a 5-year, somewhere north of $14 million annually type of deal with $45 million guaranteed. But don't just look at it on the Redskins side of it. we have to look at it from Brandon Scherff's side. What would motivate him to sign an extension before the end of this year? The salary cap is expected to increase considerably pretty soon, with the collective bargaining agreement and the NFL's TV deals also approaching deadlines. So why would Brandon Scherff sign sooner for less money? I hope he does, but it's up to him if he's willing to take a hometown discount. The only advantage for him signing early, signing an extension in 2019 instead of hitting the free agency market, would be to go ahead and get that bag before another injury may happen and diminish his value. Otherwise, it's smarter for him to bet on himself and wait it out and let the Redskins bid for his services with other teams in 2020. But I'm curious how y'all feel. Here's my next Twitter poll. How do y'all feel about Brandon Scherff's contract situation? Do you want the Redskins to hand him a blank check and sign him for whatever right now? Or do you want them to be patient but get it done within 2019? Or do you want the Redskins to just let him hit 2020 free agency? If I were casting a vote, I was originally leading the option 2 with being patient. Don't let him hit the 2020 free agency, but also don't just give him everything. The deal we give him, if we do, will more than likely reset the market for guards. But don't let it be some ridiculous deal that eats up the salary cap. But then when I really sat down and thought about it, Brandon Scherff is a rare talent. And with how the salary cap is going to increase soon anyway, we can sign him to a crazy contract now, and it will be team friendly, percentage of the salary cap wise, in just a couple of years. So hand that man a blank check and get him signed ASAP, right now, like before I'm done making this video right now. Make me look stupid, but that's just me. Let me see your vote. Go to the link in the description and submit your answer. I'll post the results in the next video and talk about it briefly like I always do. But that's it for this offseason episode of Redskins Report. Thanks for the view. I'm going to keep bringing y'all updates on the Redskins year round. I'm going to bring y'all my film sessions on every player we drafted and maybe some undrafted free agents as we get closer to the regular season. I'm getting on that really soon. Been watching a lot of film, going through them one by one. And I'm also going to bring y'all some interesting topics like this, Redskins Reports, some debate topics, and of course, some live streams eventually. Make sure y'all get in them comments and let me know. How do y'all feel about my Redskins starting lineup? How do y'all feel about the sleep strategy for preventing and recovering from injuries? How excited are y'all for training camp? Which players do y'all have your eyes on? And how do y'all feel about this Brandon Scherff contract situation? Please get in that Twitter poll and answer and let your voice be heard. And get in them comments. Also, while you at it, make sure you Dolomite fake punch that like button, favorite, subscribe, I'll subscribe back, and most importantly, comment and share. Also, follow me on Twitter, I will follow back, just DM me when you do so. And again, thank y'all for the support, I'll catch y'all later, I'm out.